Hi, so in this video, we're going to go over how to use scan for pets. I'll go over the different things that are available for pets and how to use each of them. So the very first thing that you need to do before you could use any of the features in scan is to first create a pet profile. Unlike humans, pets do not have their own separate profile. They have a profile that is like a sub profile under their guardian's profile. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to create one, and I'll use my own profile and create a pet. So this would be one of my pets technically. If you want to add a profile for a pet that is a client's pet that they're asked you to scan their pets, it's best to create a profile for the client first, even if you're not going to actually do any scans for the client and it's only going to be for the pet. Still, I consider that it's the best approach because it kind of becomes part of the signature of the pet whose profile they're under, that they're associated with that human. So that's the way that I like to do it. Okay, so to access the pet creation, if I get call it that, you go and you click on the you make sure you're in the right profile, the profile of whoever is the guardian of that pet, and then you click on their name at the top and then pet animals. And this is where you're going to be able to add a new pet. So you can see I have my cats here. I have a horse that I added for demo purposes. Okay, so you click on the plus sign to add a new pet. And here are everything that is there to create the signature, because that's what we're doing basically. We're about to create an energy signature for the pet. Everything that's there is important. Unlike humans, pets will not be providing their voice to be part of their energy signature, so everything else is important. Okay, so you're going to first enter the name of the pet. Some people just put the name of the pet as they are called, and some people, and that's what I do, add the last name of their human. So my cat, his name is Chimo, but my name is Roussy, so that's the way I do it. I'm not saying you have to do it this way, but that's the way I do it. Next is you enter the species. So let's say I'm doing a cat here. Okay, so you want to be as specific as you can be to identify your pet. So if you do know the exact breed that your pet is, you go and select whatever breed it is. Let's say it's this one. If you know that it's a mixed breed, but you know a mix of what, you could select the different breeds that are part of the breed of your cat or your dog or whatnot. If you just don't know, you could just say mixed breed. You know it's a breed, but you don't know which one. You could say just mixed breed. Okay, so that is for the breed. Then the next element, the gender, male. For the birth date, we're not as specific as we are with humans. With pets, we just want to know the birth year and the birth month. Okay, now most people don't know the date their animal was born. That's not a problem. What we're doing really is creating an energy signature. We want to have a unique identifier for the pet. So it's not as important to be exact as it is to be unique. And by having all of these different pieces, the picture, the birth date, and all of the different elements, we will get to a unique energy signature for the pet. So don't worry if it's not accurate because you don't know when their birth date is. Like I said, it's not as important. So you could just pick one. It could be the date that you think they were born, or it could even be the adoption date. Okay, so pick based on what I just said, whatever makes the most sense. Okay, the next element is the pet ID. So you have different options here for pet ID. The first, and I'll go in order of best option to less not as good but still acceptable. The first and best option is to buy a pet collar from Solex. And why is this the best option? Well, because you're going to be able to not only use it because it has a tag with a pet ID, but it's also the collar is made of silicone that's infused with cybin and black tourmaline, and this will allow you to not only provide the benefits that come with those elements, but also it's a great product that can be imprinted with frequencies. So you have that added benefit. So that's why it's the best option to use. But for the signature part of it, it's not necessarily better than the next option I'm about to say. The second best is the microchip. If your pet is microchipped, use that number. It's unique. It's going to work perfectly for that. If you don't have any of those two things, then you can create a unique energy signature. You have different options that you you could do. You could combine the birth date that you pick, use that, but if you just use the birth date, it's not going to be unique. There could be loads of pets that were born that date. You want it to be unique, remember? So use that, but then combine it with something else, like the first letter of the pet's name. So that's going to make that that pet ID unique. You could even use your phone number added with the first initial of the name, the street address that you have. You know what I'm, you get the idea. You just need to come up with something unique that you're not going to reuse for another pet in your house. Okay, so for the sake of this, I'm just going to enter whatever. Okay, so the next bit here, if you're doing this on a device, like a mobile device, you're going to have the option to take a picture right there and then from the device. Because I'm on my computer, I don't have the option. So the other way to add a picture is by uploading one. And I have one here that I made before. Not the best picture of my cat, but that's the first one that I found. The thing that's important here, as you can see, this is a square size image. So if you add a picture that is like landscape or like, different than square, the system is not going to allow you to go and place it to pick the square from the picture. You have to do that beforehand. So go in the picture, use whatever tool you have at your disposal, make sure it's a square. Ideally, you really want to have the pet's face that is really visible. I like to have the entire body, but the face is just the face is fine as well. Okay, and that's it. With those elements, you have your energy signature. I'm not going to go through with this because I already have my cat is already entered in the system now. Okay, so I showed you an example with a cat. For a dog or a horse, the exact same principle. It's all the same information. But you could also add other pets that are not a dog, a cat, or a horse. But if you do that, you're going to have limited things that you can do with the EOScan, which I'll talk about a little bit more later in this video. But not everything's going to be available the same, but it's possible to send frequencies to other pets. So you just pick other as the category of pet. You just enter what species of pet this is. And the rest is the same. The ID, like everything else, is the same. Basically, it's just a breed that you don't have. And then, like I said, you won't have the same options of what you can do. Okay, let's talk about those options of what you can do. The first one is a pet vitals. So to access the pet vitals, of course, you go in vitals, and then you have to make sure that you select as your target for the scan, you select your pet that you've previously entered. So once you select the pet, the rest is what you're familiar with. Just like for humans, you do a scan and then you do optimization. The elements that are scanned are different for a pet. I'll show you a report, the last report. So here's the report of the last scan I did for my cat. We're in enhanced view right now. I'm just going to switch to classic view. So because the pets do not have an inner voice scan, the balancing harmonics are wrapped into one with the vital scan. So they do have pet harmonics. It's 3 as opposed to 4 and 3 minutes each. And just make sure when you play them for your pets that you don't put the volume too loud. And of course, they're not going to be wearing any sort of headset. So this is not as efficient as when you listen to balancing harmonics with a headset, but it's still valuable. I play balancing harmonics for my cats every single day, and pets tend to really love them. I think they just know it's good for them. So in terms of what's in the report, it's very similar to what humans have, but there's some differences. For instance, the food category is not as extensive. The chakras will be based on the animal, the species. So like a cat has more chakras than a human. There's no meridians for pets. Like there's not as many items, but it's really, really great that we do have that. We do have that for pets. So I'm not going to go over how to interpret the report because that part and how to read the report and all of that is the same as for humans. It's just like not the same amount of items, but everything else is the same. So I'm not going to cover that here. Okay, so that's what you can do for dogs, cats, and horses. Okay, so the next type of scan that you can do for pets, but that's only available for horses at this time. It's April 2024 right now. Maybe it will change in the future. It has been announced that comprehensive would be available for cats and dogs too eventually, but it's still not at this time. So you just go in comprehensive, and it's the same principle that I just showed you. You do a custom scan, and then you pick the horse. That's why that's the only available, like it's grayed out for my two cats, but not for the horse, because that's the only species that is available, and it's the same scan and optimize, like just like it would do for a human. And similar to with vitals, where I was telling you that there's not as many items that are being scanned, is the same for the comprehensive. Not as many items are available, as you can see in this list, to scan. So this is what the categories that are available look like. Okay, another difference is there's no database for horses. You know, if you've taken phase 2 and you have access to the database for human profile, there is no such thing for horses. So let's look at a report. And the way to look at the report with the numbers and all of this is the exact same way as you would for a human. So I'm not going to go into this, but I just wanted to show you what that looks like. All right, so let's talk about what's available not only for cats, dogs, and horses, but also for these other types of pets that I discussed about. It's a SEFI. So SEFI, you could do anything you want, just like for humans, just simply by choosing the pet as a target. So you choose like my cat here, choose my cat as a target, and then I could choose individual frequencies to broadcast or a playlist, you know, the exact same way that I would do for any other kind of target. The last thing that I've not covered that you can do for pets at this time is a quick scan, and it's under pet. So you simply select pet and whatever it is that, let's say I would want to scan my cat for what kind of therapy he needs at this time, is simply go ahead and scan, and for 10 seconds, and it's going to tell me what his body is in resonance with the most at this time. So that covers everything that you can do for pets at this time. And yeah, I hope this was helpful.